So this is Ryan Olmsted, and this is a video and an interview about adult ADHD. So Ryan, when were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was in about sixth grade, sixth grade, around there.
Mm-hmm.
I got diagnosed because I was having a really hard time with school those years. My mom kind of wanted to know what was going on, so she went to have me kind of looked at because she's a medical professional and figured that that's what it might be, and that's what it was actually. So she decided to have me taken in and get looked at for that.
And so what were like the signs that you may have had ADHD?
Well, I think the biggest signs was the fact that I was doing poorly in school, and that was an overall kind of like an accumulation of everything that was happening with the ADHD, I guess you could say. I tended to get in trouble in class quite a bit, always goofing off, talking to the other kids, distracting them, not really paying attention to the teacher, and at times, if the material that I was learning wasn't the most exciting, or I already knew it, I tended to blow it off, and so that really affected my schoolwork right there. Just the simple fact that I had an extremely hard time staying on task when I was younger.
And so, did you go on any treatments?
I did. What they prescribed me was a dosage of Ritalin. So I took that, I believe, 6th and 7th grade, and it seemed to help, but I really did not like it. It really made me kind of weird. I noticed that when I took Ritalin, it really kind of focused me. It brought me down a little bit, kind of made me stay on task more, but it also kind of enclosed me, I guess you could say. I tended to talk less to my friends, my buddies, my parents, even family. I just kind of closed off from the world, kind of. I would go home, and if I was still feeling some of the effects of the Ritalin, I just kind of hang out on the couch and not want to do much. It made me kind of feel like a robot. So needless to say that I didn't really like it, and that's why I only took it for about 6th and 7th grade.
So you don't take anything for it now?
No, I don't take anything for it now. I made I was still pretty young at the time. I made a pact with my mom. I told her that it made me feel like garbage. So what I was going to do is, under my own power, try to control the, all the, everything that was happening, Try to control the fact that it was hard for me to pay attention, hard for me to stay on task, I was forgetting due dates, always losing papers and stuff. I could never find where they were, but I was going to really try to, under my own power, control it, and I eventually did. I've kind of found a way to live with it, just kind of roll with it. I was still forgetful, still procrastinating, but I was able to get everything done, and it worked for me, so I kept it going that way.
Do you feel like it's part of who you are, and you don't want to change that?
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Feel that way. To this day, I'm a big procrastinator. It's it's kind of hard to deal with, but I've kind of learned to live with it and learn to work under pressure a little better, I guess you could say. I know it's probably not the healthiest way to deal with it, but it works for me, so that's what I like to do.
So how do you feel that it affects you differently as an adult than it did as a child, or do you?
Yeah, I feel like it affects me, much differently. As a child, I would get in trouble in class all the time. That was the main thing. I tended to be a little reckless, act out, just not really care what the teachers or anything had to say. So because I couldn't really pay attention, nor did I want to pay attention, I just had a hard time. Now as an adult, I don't act out or throw spit wads at my boss. That wouldn't be good. But time constraints at work kind of stress me out a little bit because I know that I'm probably going to procrastinate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm learning to deal with that a little bit more. I kind of work in a world where you have to be extremely organized. You have to remember all the little details.
Okay, where do you work, and how would you say that ADHD affects you in your work?
Well, I work at the sheriff's department, and it affects me quite a bit. But I'm extremely happy with my job choice because the hard part about it is I have to remember all the small details, everything that happened, all of that. But it's also a kind of fast-paced, always changing, never the same thing twice, and you kind of have to think for yourself. You're never going to get the same thing more than once. And so I think that's what helps me stay focused on remembering the little details, because I know that those little details will be different every time.
Mm-hmm. So you think it's a good career choice for you with your ADHD?
I think it's an extremely good career choice. I enjoy the fact that I'm never going to be bored during it. It's a different story every day.
And what about, how does it affect you? I know you're not in school right now, but how did it affect you in school?
It affected me quite a bit in school. I think the hardest part was going from high school, where I could kind of goof off and had guidance from my teachers there, and going from high school to college. When I started college, I enjoyed it more because it was more under my own power. It was kind of I had the freedom to choose when I was going to do things, when I wanted to do things, what classes I was going to take, but the responsibility was thrown back on my shoulders to remember due dates, remember when things were due, what things were due, what I was supposed to read. I had no one throughout the week to remind me every day in class to get my act together and get squared away.
So, what you described that as a big transition for you from high school to college?
Definitely, that was probably one of the biggest transitions, and it was kind of a little wake up for me because I knew that no one was gonna hold my hand anymore. Making me stop procrastinating, get on my finish everything on time, and it really helped me start to roll with the fact that I really have a hard time paying attention and everything, because that's when I started to get into the swing of things and really know how I could live with the fact that I can't pay attention pretty much.
And how would you say it affects your relationships?
Well, I think it doesn't play too much of a role in my relationships because everyone that I'm close to knows that I'm a forgetful, procrastinating person. At times, I feel like I may seem that, I'm not that good of a listener, or, I'm forgetful, and people that I care about may think that, I'm just not paying attention to them, or that I don't care about the relationship that we have as much because I tend to forget some of the smaller things, and I think my girlfriend can attest to that. That happens at times, but it's an ongoing process. It's never going to end. I'm always going to try to work with it and talk to my significant other, my family members, and let them know I'm trying to remember certain things, different ways to be a better, I guess you could say, kind of an active listener. Try to take their information and really respond back to them instead of just listening, because when I sit there and just listen to someone, then that's when I tend to see a squirrel.
And what's something you do that drives me crazy all the time?
The fact that she can or you can be having a conversation with me, and I can answer her back, and my mind is over here, and she'll ask me a couple minutes later, about the same thing we just talked about, and I'll have no clue what she's talking about.
Yeah, but what's the other thing? What are you always doing that drives me crazy? You can never just not be doing anything.
Oh.
You're always messing with
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
You always have your phone, or you're always playing with something, and sometimes I just want to, just talk to you, but you're always doing something.
Yeah, that definitely drives her crazy. I've tried to explain a little bit that I tend to do one thing and listen to her at the same time, and it's that's been kind of a topic of contention, I guess you could say, because I really have tried to stop, looking at the TV or messing with my phone or doing other things while we're talking or hanging out, because I realize that it's rude, and she deserves my all my attention, during our conversations and everything. So
you actually are pretty good. I used to think you just weren't listening, but you actually do listen even when you're doing other things.
And that's one thing that I've tried to work on, is being able to multitask a little bit.
So what else? Any other comments?
I feel as if the hardest part of having ADHD is the fact that I procrastinate, because it's really easy for me to know that I have a date and a goal and that I'm going to get it done, and then have it set up and in my mind and forget about it, and then realize that the due date's coming up and then be on a time crunch. And I feel like that is really the hardest part about living with adult ADHD, is the fact that it's the real world now, and the things that I do need to be done when I say they're going to be done or when they're asked to be done. So that's probably the hardest part.
And why do you think it makes you procrastinate? Because you have trouble focusing and doing what you need to do?
Yeah, because I do have trouble focusing on what I need to do. I forget the due dates, so if they give me a long time to do it, that's even worse. Because I'll forget the due dates, and then I'll go to do it that night. And for example, when I was still going to Pima, to the community college, whenever I would write papers, I would write it the night before. I know that's no shock. A lot of people do that, but I would have to actually downloaded a couple apps on my computer, to where it wouldn't let me get on Google Chrome, it wouldn't let me get on Facebook, and it was another app that went with Microsoft Word that kind of blacked out everything around the outside, and it was just the paper. So I was had to focus on that, had to turn the TV off, put the remote somewhere where I was too lazy to go and try to get it to turn the TV on, so it wasn't easily accessible right there in front of me.
Okay, well, thank you for doing this interview for our class.
No problem.
And, okay, bye.